Hi there everyone, Jack here again at the Vinyl Voyage. So today's big question is, who doesn't enjoy a good musical duo? From Chaz and Dave to the Black Keys, when you have two people in the studio or on stage singing and performing together, it can be absolutely magical. Now if you're in a band, you can kind of hide in a band. If you're having a bad day, your bandmates can bail you out, they can pull in the slack. It's a musical duo, you can't do that, you're front and centre. That's the same kind of if you're a solo performer, but as a solo performer, you have full creative control. You can do what you want. You can't really do that as a musical duo because you've got to think about the other person. You've got to make sure that you're both singing off the same song sheet. However, when a musical duo connect and they lock in musically, it can be absolutely fantastic. So today's video was kind of inspired by a new group that I've been listening to, the Chords. Now the Chords are Eva and Grace Tedeschi, two sisters from the west of Scotland, and by this point in the video I really should be holding up a piece of their vinyl. However, to this point the Chords have not released any vinyl yet, so why should I be speaking about them? Well, to be honest, because they're absolutely great. To date they've signed to Heavenly Creatures Records. They have just released their first cassette single produced by Frightened Rabbit's Simon Liddell, which I would have held up if I could have got a copy. It was sold out in about 12 minutes. They've supported like a number of Scottish indie luminaries like the Vaselines, and they've also did their first live session on BBC Six Music on the Mark Riley show. So to be honest, that's some resume for a young band. But don't take my word for it, have a listen to the Chords yourself. There we go then, that was Rather Not Stay by the Chords, and the melodies in that chorus, wow, they are absolutely beautiful. I love it. They've got that perfect C86 Scottish indie jangle pop sound down to an absolute T. I know the girls themselves are big fans of BMX Bandits, the Pastels, the Shop Assistants, and all that kind of thing, and yeah, I just absolutely love their sound. Now, when I was in Edinburgh last week at Azzy Records, there was a new book on the counter, which I'm keen on buying. It's called Postcards from Scotland. It's like kind of history of the Scottish independent music scene in the 80s. Now, I knew that the Chords had played at the launch for that book, and I kind of went to ask the guy behind the counter. We were talking about the book, and I said to him, "Oh, have you heard the band that played?" And I got halfway through the sentence, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, the Chords. The Chords, oh, they're fantastic." There's another guy in the shop who absolutely loves the Chords, so they are like really making a name for themselves really quickly. So I'm going to play the other song from the single in full, Bo's New Haircut, at the end of the video. So stick around for that. It's an absolutely fantastic song as well. I will also put the link to their band channel in the description. Go along and support them. Get in on the ground floor before everybody hears them, because I think they're going to be massive, the Chords. From the emerging to the iconic, I couldn't have did a musical duos video in good conscience without including the White Stripes. This is, of course, their 2003 album Elephant, released on Jack White's own Third Man Records. What an iconic album this is. Just full of absolutely killer blues rock, garage rock songs, bangers like Seven Nation Army and The Hardest Button to Button. But for me, it's the tenderer moments on this album that really hit home. I love I Want to Be the Boy to Warm Your Mother's Heart. Also really love the song that they do with Holly Golightly. It's true that we love one another. just great songs. But what made the White Stripes, obviously, was that fantastic dynamic between Jack and Meg. You know, the whole brother sister, husband wife, are they, aren't they thing. They had like that fantastic black, white, and red aesthetic going on. Jack White's obvious, amazing blues rock guitar, and then Meg's more rudimentary but kind of primal drum beats just really made the album. But yeah, just fantastic stuff. And it begs the question: who really needs a bass player? Back to 1968 next. This is Nancy and Lee from Nancy Sinatra and Lee Hazlewood on the Reprise label. This is just an absolutely amazing collection of duets, kind of country pop tinge. Obviously, coming from 1968, it's an album that tunes in to the mood of the times as well. So there are little flashes of psychedelia creeping in there with some backwards guitars and some harpsichord, some groovy beats, but also a real country influence as well. But the big thing here is obviously the duets between Nancy and Lee, where you've got that really innocent, sweet voice from Nancy and that more world-weary, almost like kind of country drawl from Lee. But Lee Hazlewood's songwriting as well is absolutely fantastic. There's great songs on here, like Some Velvet Morning, which obviously is a real classic, and then a number of great covers as well. So you've got Johnny Cash's Jackson, you've got a brilliant, really slowed down version of the Righteous Brothers' You've Lost That Loving Feeling to open the album. That sounds like the pair of them are drugged up on Quaaludes. But yeah, really great album and worth digging out. Next then, a lovely collaboration between two contemporary singer-songwriters. This is Kurt Vile and Courtney Barnett with their cryptically titled Lot of Sea Lice from 2017 on Matador Records. And check out that album cover. It just shows the kind of yin and yang between the pair. You've got Kurt Vile, who's like this US country psych troubadour, and then you've got Courtney Barnett over here, who's like an indie superstar, I think, in the making, with just really cool lyrics, kind of witty and rambling, and no one really sounds like her. She's got a great voice. But they split songwriting duties on this album. I prefer Kurt Vile's songs, but I probably prefer Courtney Barnett's delivery. I think she's got a really nice voice. It's really unusual. And it really works with Kurt Vile on here. I think on songs like Over Everything. Blue Cheese is quite a funny song. It's got funny lyrics and they bounce off each other really well. And Continental Breakfast is another one with great lyrics as well. But they've got a very clean guitar sound. It's pretty jangly. But for me, it's the lyrics and the chemistry between Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile that really make this album work. But if you're looking for some indie duets, you can't go far wrong with Lot of Sea Lice. This then is the debut from underrated New York new wavers, Slow Children. It was released in 1981 on Ensign Records. So the Slow Children were Paul Shazar on vocals and Andrew Sininch on guitars. And they create a really upbeat, energetic sound, really great bass lines in the songs, and Paul's vocal delivery and kind of fantastically quirky lyrics are really good as well. I'm really surprised that they weren't better known. That first song, Brazilian Magazines, is really good. I think this track listing is different from the US track listing. The US track listing opens up with President Am I, which was one of the singles. But they only recorded 3 albums, and that was them done. There's the lyric sheet. And I'll just show you that label. But yeah, give them a listen. If you want something really upbeat, kind of early 80s sounding, then give the Slow Children a listen. The next album I'm probably listening to more than anything else at the moment, it is We Are the Carets by the Carets from 2018. It was released on their own Sounds of Subterranea label. It's their 3rd album. And it's got like a kind of scuzzy garage punk mixed with 60s girl group melodies kind of sound. The Carets are Flavia Cury, who's from Brazil. She sings, plays guitar, and writes the songs. And this is her husband, Martin Cury, who sings and plays the drums. So they're a real husband and wife team. So they draw obvious comparisons to the White Stripes, but they're much dirtier sounding than the White Stripes. They're more kind of sounding like a mixture between the Ronettes and the Cramps. They sound more like that. The songs are just fantastic, really short, sub 2.5 minute songs, full of teenage rebellion. Songs like The Teens Are Square, then like songs about voodoo, like Hoodoo Hop and Voodoo Doll. Time is Ticking's really, really catchy. Just full of like great kind of period detail. That's a great song as well. It taps into their kind of 60s girl group sensibilities. Full, full, full. It's more of a kind of tender number. But what, as much as anything, Flavia Curry has just got like such a fantastic rock and roll scream. It's up there with Kim Shattuck's from the Muffs. When she screams, she just really, really lets rip. So check them out, the Carets. This is Buckingham Nicks by future Fleetwood Mackers, Steve Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, from 1973, released on Polydor Records. And it is the sound of future Fleetwood Mac. You know, I've heard it been said that when Mick Fleetwood asked Lindsey Buckingham to join Fleetwood Mac, it wasn't so much the two joined Fleetwood Mac, that the rest of Fleetwood Mac joined Buckingham Nicks, because this is the sound of Rumours. You know, the songwriting on here is fantastic. I love the songs. Really, really catchy. Stevie Nicks has got a fantastic voice. Lindsey Buckingham's guitar's absolutely brilliant as well. I love all the acoustic guitar work that he does on here. It was the reason why he was asked to join Fleetwood Mac. And obviously, Lindsey Buckingham said at the time, no, myself and Stevie come as a package. If I go, she goes. Yeah, really, really good. This is an Australian press on Polydor. Really nice pressing. But yeah, I really like this album. It's a great, great album, and I like Fleetwood Mac. So a great duet before they joined Fleetwood Mac. Finally, my favourite musical duo of all time, Simon and Garfunkel, with their fourth album, Bookends, from 1968, released on Columbia Records. Now, Paul Simon, prior to this album coming out, was having a period of writer's block. He was struggling with a drought of creativity, and they hadn't released an album since 1966, when they released Parsley, Sage, Rosemary and Thyme. However, this is a far better album. I think it was a big, big jump creatively, and partly inspired by Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles, because this is a bit of a concept album in itself, a concept around the journey through life. So the album starts with Save the Life of My Child, and then it has America, which is about adolescents, young people kind of try to find their purpose in life and travelling. And then you've got other songs like Old Friends, which kind of deals more with old age and relationships as you get older. But yes, absolutely brilliant. A beautiful folk record, amazing lyrics, amazing melodies, absolutely fantastic harmonies from Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel. But yeah, I love this album. It's just hard to beat. Full of great, great songs. Hazy Shade of Winter is obviously just an absolute beauty of a song as well. Again, dealing with the passage of time, and then songs like Mrs. Robinson, which was obviously the big hit and used in the movie The Graduate. But yeah, I love this. And when we're talking about relationships within bands, this is almost like the ultimate in bad relationships. Obviously, Buckingham Nicks became bad, or became kind of toxic, but Simon and Garfunkel were toxic right through their career. They were continually splitting up. Art Garfunkel always continually felt that he was living in Paul Simon's shadow. But I love that little story about, you know, how he always felt that he was in Paul Simon's shadow, and Paul Simon always called the shots. And then Paul Simon said that one day they went to a photo shoot, and he said that Art Garfunkel could always bring out the worst in him. He could always make him feel bad, because with his little one-liners and quips, because he said towards the end of the photo shoot, like, you might always call the shots and you might be the main songwriter, but no matter what happens, I will always be taller than you. And Paul Simon had said that he didn't think it had got to him at the time, but he said, 50, 60 years later, I was still thinking about that comment. So it just shows you, duos don't always need to get along. So that's the end of my musical duos video. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up. More importantly, if you'd like to comment on any of the albums that I've shown, or any recommendations of your own on the same topic, I always love to hear what you've got to say. And likewise, if you'd like to subscribe and watch more of my content, I'd love that as well. That only leaves me to say, the chords are going to play us out. Enjoy, and we'll see you later.